Hello everyone, my name is Alex and welcome to the first episode of Eagle Spirit Science Futures. In this series, we'll be walking you through some science experiments that you can do right in the comfort of your own home. In this episode, you'll be learning about wind power and even get to build your very own wind turbine. So what is wind energy? Wind energy is a clean energy source that is collected by using wind turbines. When moving air blows over the blades of these turbines, it causes them to lift, just like the wings of an airplane. Inside of the wind turbine, the energy created by the spinning of the blades is converted into electrical energy. This powers our homes, electronics, and appliances. When I was young, my mom would tell me the story of Wojulusen, the wind eagle. In this story, Guluskap, a common figure in our Migamog stories, visits the wind eagle after he becomes frustrated at the wind because it's keeping him from hunting. Guluskap tricks the wind eagle into a hole, which stops all of the winds in the world. This has a negative effect on the environment and wildlife. Guluskap sees the error of his ways and goes to right his wrongs by freeing the wind eagle from where he left him. From there, the wind eagle agrees with Guluskap that moderating the gusts of wind that he produces is probably the best way of going about things. Why I love this story is that it shows that our ancestors had an understanding of how winds affected the world around them. Today, my community is part of a wind energy farm called Meski Gokjusun, or Big Wind. This is in collaboration with our two sister communities, and the farm itself has a total of 47 wind turbines that generate 150 megawatts of electricity. To put it in other words, that powers about 30,000 households. Now, we won't be building a full-sized wind turbine, but you'll be creating a smaller version. In this experiment, we're going to compare two different sized blades and see if it affects the number of rotations a wind turbine can produce. Just as a safety note, we're going to be working with a hot glue gun and an X-Acto knife, so make sure that you have an adult doing the experiment with you to avoid any injuries. Here's what you're going to need. You need some chipboard, some wooden dowels and skewers and popsicle sticks, some aluminum pie trays or cardboard, a box cutter or a small hobby knife, a hand drill if you have it, a hot glue gun, duct tape, measuring tape or ruler, and a bottle cap. Alright, let's move on to the turbine structure itself. To start, you're going to glue your bottle cap to that sheet of chipboard using your hot glue gun. This will be the base of your wind turbine. Next, I'm using the heated tip of the glue gun to punch a hole into the plastic bottle cap. From here, you'll use a small knife to make the hole big enough to fit your wooden dowel into. Once you have a good fit, using the hot glue gun, you're going to glue the wooden dowel to the base of the turbine through that hole that you made in the bottle cap. From here, we're going to take some chipboard and cut out a square a little larger than a bottle cap. You're going to then glue that square of chipboard to the top of the dowel that you just assembled to the base. Make sure to leave some space so you can drill a small hole for a wooden skewer to pass through. In our experiment, we measured the skewer to be about 10 inches in length. Once your skewer slides into the hole you made, you're going to glue it to the top of your dowel. We added a piece of a popsicle stick, just to add better support. Now we're moving on to the turbine blades. Cut out another square from your chipboard, and this time you're going to drill a small hole in the center to allow a wooden skewer to fit through. This is where your turbine structure is going to connect to the blades. Next, you want to take 3 wooden skewers and trim them to the length that you want. We trimmed ours to be about 6 inches in length. Take your 3 wooden skewers, begin gluing them to the square of chipboard that you just made. You want the blades to have an angle of about 120 degrees between them. If the fit is too loose, you can add some glue around the hole to reinforce it, just to help it stay upright. Now we need to test how our blade part fits to the rest of the turbine. After cleaning off the excess material from your chipboard, you're now going to make the turbine blades using those aluminum pie trays or pieces of cardboard. You're going to need 3 of these. We made our blade shape closer to a triangle. You're now going to use the hot glue gun and attach each of your blades to a wooden skewer. It's important here to make sure that you're gluing them to the same side of each skewer and with a slight angle towards the back. You can see that a little easier here, how they're all slanted backwards. Do your final fitting. This experiment is about comparing 2 sizes of turbine blades, so now you're going to repeat these steps with shorter blade lengths. Again, we went with a measurement of 4 inches in our experiment if you want a reference. To count the number of rotations, you're going to want to mark one of the blades on each of your turbines. Here, we're marking the shaft of the blade itself so that we can see it easier. We're also adding a dot just for good measure. Now your turbine is ready to be tested. You'll notice we added a mark on the base dowel to help us count the number of rotations our turbine makes. You'll be counting the number of rotations in 30 seconds using a fan to create wind to spin your turbine blades. You can either count the rotations yourself or record your turbine using a video camera on a cell phone. We want to make sure that the only thing that is changing in our experiment is the length of the turbine blades, so make sure that the fan stays at the same speed and that the turbine is in the same place between tests. You'll be doing 3 tests for each blade length. In our experiment, we did 3 tests for each length, counting the number of rotations in 30 seconds. Out of the 3 measurements that we had 50 rotations, 48 rotations, and 53 rotations. In a table, the average length, once we add them together and divide by the number of tests that we did, equaled out to about 50.33 rotations per 30 seconds. Now moving on in our experiment, we swapped out the large blade heads for the smaller blades that we made just earlier. Again, using a video camera just to help us count the number of rotations. Repeating the same 3 tests for the smaller blade lengths, we came to counts of rotations in 30 seconds. In our first test, we had 37 rotations. Second test had 36, and our third experiment at about 43. Always make sure to title your graphs. In a table format, if we were to get the average by taking our 3 tests, adding the numbers together, and dividing by the number of tests, we're looking at about an average rotations of 38.67. From our results, we can see that the larger blades rotated faster than the smaller blades. This means that the larger blades must then generate more energy than the smaller ones. As you're applying the scientific method in your experiments, think about how the angle of the blade affects spin speed. Try different angles, see if that affects your results. Think about the shape of the blade. Try cutting out different shapes, sizes, see how that affects the spin speed. And finally, how do you think adding or taking away blades will affect the spin speed? Wind energy has come a long way over the years. The effects of climate change are becoming more and more visible every day, and this is affecting our indigenous communities in accessing the land and also our cultural practices. With this in mind, we should be asking ourselves if the energy that is powering our homes comes from clean energy sources. Thank you for tuning in to Eagle Spirit Science Futures. If you've completed your own wind turbine experiment alongside us, feel free to post your work in the comments section below. Everyone who posts a photo of their wind turbine will be entered for a chance to win some gifts from the Indigenous Health Professions program. Until next time, everyone, happy learning.